your City Commission meeting. Today is Tuesday, April 28th, 2020. Please turn off or silence all cell phones during the meeting. Obviously, that's not a real concern right now with our situation here in the city chambers, but meetings are televised every day on Channel 2 at 7 p.m. and midnight and available for viewing on YouTube and Facebook Live. Due to the restriction of social distancing and prohibition of gathering of 10 or more people to mitigate the spread of COVID-19, the City Commission meeting will not be open to the public. In accordance with the Kansas Open Meetings Act, the meeting can be viewed live on Channel 2 and via Facebook Live. Questions on agenda items will be read during the discussion on that topic. And citizens have been requested to submit their questions to C. Williamson at firstcity.org, who is our city clerk, no later than 6 p.m. on April 28th. And Ms. Williamson informs me that there have been no questions submitted for this particular meeting. Members of the public wishing to receive agenda notifications can contact the city clerk, C. Williamson at firstcity.org to be added to the agenda email distribution list. Agendas are available for viewing on the city website at www.leavenworthkansasks.org. So if everyone now will stand, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a silent meditation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Just a reminder to our citizens who are viewing our City Commission today, I'm here with the City Manager, with Ms. Williamson, and joining us and part of are the other commissioners who are remote. They're using an app called GoToMeeting, so they're all there. I can see them. But I just wanted to let everybody know that's how we're going to conduct the meeting. Again, I think this is the third meeting or fourth meeting that we've done it this way, so that's what you can expect this evening. Now, I do have some proclamations. There are 4 of them. I'll read them, and then obviously nobody's here from these organizations to receive the proclamation, but we'll get them mailed as we've done previously. And the first one is for the Barbershop Harmony Month. And Ms. Williamson tells me that this is something that the Cody Choraleers normally always come, get the proclamation, give it to them, and then they sing one of their beautiful songs. Well, they've postponed that. Hopefully later this coming summer, they'll be able to come and sing. But I'm going to read the proclamation, and then we'll send it to them probably tomorrow. City of Leavenworth, Kansas, proclamation, whereas the Society for the Preservation and Encouragement of Barbershop Quartet Singing in America, now known as the Barbershop Harmony Society, was founded in April 1938 and is celebrating its 82nd anniversary. And whereas the Barbershop Harmony Society promotes singing and harmonious relations in the United States and in many countries throughout the world, and whereas the Cody Choraleers of the Leavenworth chapter of the Barbershop Harmony Society are celebrating 50 years of barbershop harmony and community service in the Leavenworth area, and whereas the Cody Choraleers work with the community to promote music education in the Leavenworth schools and entertain residents of and visitors to the first city of Kansas, now therefore I, Myron J. Mike Griswold, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim April 2020 to be Barbershop Harmony Month, in witness whereof I set my hand and have affixed the great seal of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, this 28th day of April in the year of 2020. So that's the first one. Second proclamation is for National Drinking Water Week, which is May 3rd through May 9th. City of Leavenworth, Kansas, proclamation, whereas water is our most valuable and important natural resource, playing a vital role in our daily lives, and the water produced by the Leavenworth Water Department is the most reliable and best tasting water in all of Leavenworth County. And whereas whereas a safe, reliable water supply is critical to the success of our community, it creates jobs, attracts industry and investment, and provides for the health and welfare of citizens in ways ranging from disease prevention to fire suppression and the quality of life we enjoy. And whereas we often take water supply for granted until it is threatened, either by drought, water main breaks, or some other event, any measure of a successful society, low mortality rates, economic growth and diversity, productivity, and public safety are in some way related to access to safe water. And whereas we are all stewards of the water supply and infrastructure upon which future generations depend, and whereas each citizen of the city of Leavenworth is called upon to help protect our source waters from pollution, to practice responsible water conservation, to get involved in local water issues, and now therefore I, Myron J. Mike Griswold, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim May 3rd through May 9th, 2020 as Leavenworth Drinking Water Week, and I urge all citizens to recognize the vital role water plays in our daily lives and to value the importance and fragility of our water resources. In witness whereof, I set my hand and have affixed the great seal of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, this 28th day of April in the year of 2020. Third proclamation is for National Small Business Week, which is the same week, May 3rd through May 9th. City of Leavenworth, Kansas, proclamation. Whereas from the storefront shops that anchor Main Street to the high-tech startups that keep America on the cutting edge, small businesses are the backbone of our economy and the cornerstones of our nation's promise. And whereas small business owners and Main Street businesses have energy and a passion for what they do, and whereas when we support small business, jobs are created and local communities preserve their unique culture, and whereas because this country's 28 million small businesses create nearly 2 out of 3 jobs in our economy, we cannot resolve ourselves to create jobs and spur economic growth in America without discussing ways to support our entrepreneurs. And whereas the President of the United States has proclaimed National Small Business Week every year since 1963 to highlight the programs and services available to entrepreneurs through the U.S. Small Business Administration and other government agencies, and whereas the City of Leavenworth, Kansas supports and joins in this national effort to help America's small businesses do what they do best, grow their business, create jobs, and ensure that our communities remain as vibrant tomorrow as they are today. And whereas the Leavenworth Main Street program has been in existence since 1995, personally supporting and growing downtown small businesses and entrepreneurs within the community and specifically within the 28 blocks of the first city of Kansas. Now therefore I, Myron J. Mike Griswold, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim May 3rd through May 9th, 2020 to be National Small Business Week. And I urge all citizens to acknowledge and celebrate the achievements made by small business both locally and nationally, and encourage all citizens to live local. In witness whereof I set my hand and have affixed the great seal of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, this 28th day of April in the year of 2020. And the fourth and final proclamation is for the National Travel and Tourism Week, again, May 3rd through May 9th. City of Leavenworth, Kansas, proclamation. Whereas travel to and within Kansas provides a significant economic benefit for the state, with 35.6 million visitors to Kansas in 2018, spending $7.1 billion directly by travelers, whereas travel is among the top 10 private sector employers in Kansas, it is supporting 96,590 jobs in 2018, including 65,352 jobs directly in the travel industry and 31,238 jobs in other industries. Whereas tourism-supported tax revenues in 2018 included $638 million in state and local tax revenues, which equates to $570 in tax revenue per household in Kansas. Whereas meetings, events, and incentive travel are core business functions that help companies strengthen business performance, educate employees and customers, and reward business accomplishments. Whereas leisure travel, which accounts for more than 63.4% of all trips taken in Kansas, spurs countless benefits to travelers' health and wellness, creativity, cultural awareness, education, happiness, productivity, and relationships. Whereas the city of Leavenworth realized approximately $9.2 million from overnight visitor expenditures in 2019 per the Smith Travel Research Report, validating the unique significance of the national travel industry in the lives of the citizens of Leavenworth, Kansas. Now, therefore, I, Myron J. Mike Griswold, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim May 3rd through May 9th, 2020 to be National Travel and Tourism Week, and call upon the people of Leavenworth to observe this coming week as sanctioned by the U.S. Congress with appropriate ceremonies and activities. In witness whereof I set my hand and have affixed the great seal of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, this 28th day of April in the year of 2020. So that completes the proclamations for today's City Commission meeting. Next, order of business, old business, consideration of previous meeting minutes. And so I'll ask my colleagues, are there any questions or comments or corrections that need to be made to our minutes from our meeting 2 weeks ago, our regular meeting?
No.
Okay, if not, I will entertain a motion on this agenda item.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioner Wilson here. I move to approve the minutes from April 14, 2020 regular meeting.
I second. Commissioner Leonhard, I second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve this particular agenda item. We are going to begin voting with Commissioner Preisinger. I think Commissioner Preisinger, I think you may be muted. There you go. We'll start with you.
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Leonhard.
Aye.
Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
And I, as the mayor, vote aye. The ayes have it. The vote is 5-0. So we've approved the minutes from our April 14th, 2020 regular meeting. Thank you. We're now going to go to second consideration ordinances, and the first one is ordinance number 8125, amending Chapter 20, Fire, Article 2, Fire Codes.
Mr. Mayor and Commission, there have been no changes since the first consideration reading at the April 14th Commission meeting. We do have the Fire Chief on the go-to meeting. If you have any questions, just as one final reminder, this adoption of the code does not have anything to do with the burning regulations. Those are an administrative policy that can be found on the city's website under the fire department. These are the codes that the fire department uses for development purposes. So there have been no changes since first consideration.
Okay. Any questions or comments from my fellow commissioners on this particular agenda item? Okay,
No.
So this is ordinance number 8125, is now presented for second consideration and requires a roll call vote, and we're going to start with Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
Commissioner Leonhard.
Aye.
Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
And I, as the mayor, vote aye. That's 5-0. The ayes have it. So we've approved this particular agenda item in ordinance number 8125. Thank you. Next is ordinance 8126, Chapter 10, and this is presented for second consideration also.
Mr. Mayor and Commission, there have also been no changes to this item since first consideration on April 14th. I will just quickly note that we have put on the city's website that these will take effect on May 1. We've also been in contact with all of our contractors, all of our trades representatives and developers, letting them know for the last couple of months that this was the timeline for this, and so there's been no comments, and it's before you for final consideration. We do have our Public Works Director available if you have any questions.
Any questions or comments on this particular agenda item, and a roll call vote for ordinance number 8126 at this point? If not, this required, I'm sorry, does anybody have a question? If not, this requires a roll call vote, and we will begin voting voting with Commissioner Preisinger. Commissioner Preisinger?
Aye. Are you hearing me?
I hear you now. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Commissioner Leonhard?
Okay, aye. Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Bowder?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
And I vote aye as the mayor. Again, 5-0, the ayes have it. So we've approved ordinance number 8126. Next is update on unsafe structure, 228, 230 Ottawa Street.
I'll let Mr. McDonald cover this item. Mike McDonald, our Public Works Director.
Okay?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, this is a fire-damaged house that the commission has looked at before. It's owned by Larry Patterson. As part of the insurance regulations by the city receives a portion of insurance settlements when the property is damaged and the owner receives an insurance check. This particular building has been repaired on the outside and there are no issues. However, finishing up the rough-in and the electrical work on the second floor of the upstairs is still not complete. And as a consequence, we are having this meeting this evening to discuss it. Al Burdette has met with Mr. Patterson in the last few days, and he has contacted his contractors to kindly come finish their work so that it can be we can release these funds back to him. And we are recommending that this be extended an additional 90 days, as that should be adequate time to perform the work, and as the contractors are able to work socially distanced, we believe this work will be completed in that time frame.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. McDonald from commissioners? Yeah, I was just, Mr. McDonald, I think it's good that Mr. Burdette met with Mr. Patterson. Another 90 days is good. We just don't want to continue to repeat that. And you've addressed the question that I had with respect to that. And it sounds like he's got some contractors lined up, and this can be and will be done in the next 90 days.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If there are no further questions or comments, I will entertain a motion on this particular agenda item.
Commissioner Leonhard, I move to approve up to another 90 days for repairs to be made to 228-230 Ottawa Street.
Second, Commissioner Bowder.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on this particular agenda item, and we are going to start voting with Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
Commissioner Leonhard.
Aye.
Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
And I vote aye as the mayor. The ayes have it. The vote is 5-0, and the motion carries. So we're good to go. Another 90 days Mr. Patterson has, and hopefully, and the expectation is they'll get that work and get it done. Thank you, Mr. McDonald. The next are mayor's appointments, and I'll go ahead and make the motion for this particular agenda item. So I move to reappoint to the Board of Zoning Appeals Jan Horvath to a term ending May 1st, 2023. I also to reappoint to the Building Code Board of Appeals John Larkin to a term ending May 1st, 2025. Also appoint to the Electrical Board of Appeals Tyler Haas to a term ending May 1st, 2025. Next, appoint to the Library Board Melissa Davis to a term ending April 30th, 2023. Next, appoint to the Mechanical Board of Appeals Brett Grossenberg to a term ending May 1st, 2025. Next, appoint to the Plumbing Board of Appeals Terry Scarf to a term ending May 1st, 2025. And finally, reappoint to the City Planning Commission Sherry Hines Whitson to a term ending May 1st, 2023. Can I have a second?
Second, Commissioner Bowder.
Okay, there's a motion and a
Commissioner
second on this
Preisinger,
particular agenda item for the mayor's appointments. We will begin voting with Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
Commissioner Leonhard.
Aye.
Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
And I vote aye as the mayor. The vote is 5-0. The ayes have it. The motion carries, so these appointments have been approved. The next is next agenda item is consider a change order number 1 for the bar screen repair project at the city's wastewater treatment plant. And I believe Mr. McDonald, or,
Yeah, we'll have Mike McDonald, our Public Works Director, handle this item.
okay?
Thank you, sir. I also have attending this meeting, Tim Guardado, our wastewater superintendent. If you have any questions that I'm unable to answer, I think he can step in.
Okay.
This is the, for the bar screen project, this was a repair that was approved by the commission in November of 2019 for $140,788. We placed the order and they are in the process of getting it ready to send to us. And as part of that process, they need to verify the measurements in the field and examine the entire setup to make sure that the parts that we're buying will fit. And the contractor that project was awarded to arranges for the manufacturing representative to come on site, and the city staff cleaned all the material off the bar screen assembly and for inspection and measurements. And in the course of that inspection, it was pointed out by the factory representative that what is called the pin racks were worn, and that it would be a possible mode of failure for the new bar screen assembly that the city was in the process of purchasing. We attached some pictures in the policy report of what is called the pin rack. It's essentially a large bicycle chain that lays in a vertical track, and the sprocket turns and drives the bar screen up and down the bicycle chain. These, to the best of our knowledge, were original installations from the 1990s, and they recommend that we have these replaced as part of this project. These particular aspects of the bar screen were not inspected when we were preparing the quotes for the bar screen, and as a consequence, they have been brought forward to us as proposed change order number 1 for the project of $38,120.
Any questions or comments for Mr. McDonald on this particular agenda item? The only question I had, Mr. McDonald, is that these damages to the equipment pretty much have been caused by the floods in recent years, correct? Particularly these the pin racks.
I think the pin racks are probably more wear and tear,
Okay.
but we did receive a partial insurance settlement on the bar screen damage itself.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, the FEMA damage assessment team has not actually been to Leavenworth yet from the flood a year ago to assess the damages that we've been busy repairing. So we may be in a position to receive some other FEMA funding.
That's exactly, yeah, that was going to be my next question. So that's good, and hopefully they'll visit soon. That was kind of the premise or where I was going with the question. So thank you for that. Any other questions or comments from Mr. McDonald on this agenda item? If not, I will entertain a motion. And I can do it. I will make the motion, and I will make a motion that we approve change order number 1 for the bar screen repair project, and I believe the cost is $38,120. So is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner
Okay.
Commissioner, second.
All right, got plenty of seconds. Okay, so we're gonna start the voting. We're gonna start the voting with Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Leonhard,
Aye.
Commissioner Bowder,
Aye.
Commissioner Preisinger,
Aye.
and I vote aye as the mayor. So the ayes have it, the vote is 5-0. So we've approved this agenda item, which is really approving the change order number 1 for the bar screen repair project. So good to go. And I did see, Mr. McDonald, that it is gonna take a little while to get the parts in, but I think with the parts that, you know, are not, these are kind of very unique parts, it'll be at least a few months until they get in. Is that correct?
That is correct, but we are much further along in the process than they were in November. I don't know, Tim, if you have an installation date that they've told you?
I do not have one at this time, but I can get one.
Okay, yeah, we
Well,
just kind of like to know, you know, whether it's 1 month, 2 months, hopefully it's not too long into the future. But, okay, thank you. And,
Thank you.
thank you. So next is the consent agenda, and I am going to turn it over to Commissioner Leonhard.
Thank you, Mayor Griswold. Before I do the consent to agenda, I do just have a little information to put out there.
Sure.
Payment for $4,758.23 to 911 Custom, and that was actually for a light bar for one of the new police SUVs. And another payment was to Maglin Corporation for $4,995.20, and that was for park benches at Stubby Park.
Okay, very good.
So,
Thank you.
okay.
All right.
And then I moved, Commissioner Leonhard, I moved to approve claims for April 11th, 2020 through April 24th, 2020 in the amount of $964,952.08. Net amount for payroll number 9, effective April 24th, 2020 in the amount of $331,267.13. Includes police and fire pension in the amount of $11,839.36.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Preisinger, second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the consent agenda. We are going to begin voting with Commissioner Preisinger.
Did I come through? Aye. Commissioner Preisinger, aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Preisinger. Commissioner Leonhard,
Aye.
Commissioner Bowder,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
and I vote aye as the mayor. The ayes have it. The vote is 5-0. So this motion carries, and we've approved the consent agenda for this particular meeting. So we're going to go around the horn. I'm going to begin with, because that's the last official agenda item. So I'm going to ask Mr. Kramer, the city manager, if he has anything.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Commission and those watching, I just want to give an update. Today was the first day of sort of a soft reopening of some city services. So I wanted to let you know how that went today and then remind you of what we have going on the rest of the week. For the first time, the Recycle Center was back open today. It was open from 8:30 to 1:30. That'll be the same tomorrow, Wednesday, from 8:30 to 1:30 at the Municipal Service Center, entering off Pennsylvania from the north side of the Service Center. We had 114 cars today that made it through. We did have some pretty significant wait times, as you can imagine, 5 weeks of gathering recycle items. We had a lot of individual people come in a car. So once you reach the bins, you know, visiting the different bins for the different materials. We did make some modifications. We allowed 3 cars at a time, which we were able to do and maintain adequate social distancing. So we'll continue that tomorrow. We just encourage people to pre-sort as much as you can. And if you do have somebody else in your home that you've been staying at home with and quarantining or grouping with, it may not hurt to bring them to help expedite your sorting and putting of your items in the dumpsters. So once again, recycling tomorrow again on Wednesday from 8:30 to 1:30. Then on Thursday, we'll have the brush site open, Thursday and Friday of this week. The brush site will be open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Again, Thursday and Friday. It will be free for residential drop-off. We're trying to do that for our residents. We know you've been collecting a lot of your brush. So any residential users will be able to use the brush site free for the time being in the near future. So that'll be Thursday and Friday. Saturday, we're going forward with our first free Saturday. So that's your free bulky item drop off at the service center. That is 8:30 to 12:30 at the service center. We're also doing recycling that day. You'll still enter from the north side of the service center. So on Saturday, we'll have first free Saturdays and recycling from 8:30 in the morning till just afternoon, till 12:30. There will be no brush site on Saturday. All that information is on the city's website. Feel free to call the city if you have any questions. Just briefly, to give you an idea of what else we're considering, we're seeing how this is going. The next things we'll turn our attention to, and we've make a decision on whether to open, not open, or delay. We're looking at the campground. We're looking at the dog park. We're looking at the use of city facilities like Haymarket Square for items such as the farmer's market. So for each of those, we'll talk to public safety officials, public health officials, elected officials, and then we'll make a determination and put that out as fast as we can. Longer term, I wanted to let everybody know we don't have a decision, but we are looking at and considering and watching things like the Woolman Aquatic Center, Camp Leavenworth, the Riverfront Community Center, all those things we're evaluating from the city side. So I don't want to steal the mayor's thunder, but if you have questions on specific services, either reach out to us or reach out to us tomorrow during our town hall, which the mayor will hit on here in a minute. So that's all I had. And if there's any questions on recycling, brush, or any other city facilities, please let me know.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Commissioner Wilson.
Stay strong, stay safe, and be blessed.
Very good. Thank you. Commissioner Leonhardt.
No, I have nothing at this time. I agree with Commissioner Wilson.
Good, thank you. Commissioner Preisinger.
Yes, I drove around town today and I see the work that's going on at Stubby Park. Some of the equipment's already installed. I realize the park is not open for patrons at this time, but it's looking good. And the work on Thornton, which I've mentioned before, so looking very forward to that completion all the way to the 10th Avenue, which will be like in September. I also noticed at the Leavenworth Mission on Spruce, they had their weekly food giveaway at 11 o'clock this morning. Traffic was backed up all the way down Spruce to 10th, and then north on 10th Street and south on 10th Avenue. So there's a lot of people in need in this town. And I know there have been other food giveaways in town, and it seems like the Leavenworth Mission may be the biggest one. I wonder if people can kind of coordinate if they have a better way of doing it. I mean, the need obviously is there. If anyone was driving around town around that time, you could see the bottleneck there. And thankful for those people that coordinate that and for all the donations they get corporately, privately, and for the people they serve. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Preisinger. Mayor Pro Tem Bowder.
I concur with Commissioner Wilson as well. I have been getting calls now through United Way for help with rent. And I think from what our organizations say, they're really going to get slammed a lot harder for needs for rent once the eviction process starts, probably around the 1st of May or so. So, keep everyone who's unemployed now in your prayers, and hopefully they'll be able to get work and pay their bills. God bless.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Bowder. And I echo my fellow commissioners' comments completely. Just 2 or 3 things very quickly. We have been having this Facebook Live Town Hall, and it's been on a weekly basis. Tomorrow will be, I think, the 7th Facebook Live Town Hall. My guest expert is going to be Mr. Will Katz, who's the director of the Small Business Development Center for 4 or 5 of the counties, including Leavenworth County. His office is located on the campus of the University of Kansas, and over the years he's provided a lot of great support to Leavenworth Main Street and our small business owners in Leavenworth. And so I think it's pretty timely. He's going to join us by Zoom, and with this second bill where funds are available to small businesses under this Paycheck Protection Program, I think his willingness to talk a bit about that will be good and timely. So I look forward to having him tomorrow, and we'll put out the other information we normally do from the city standpoint as far as services, and that's at 11 a.m. Tomorrow. And I normally talk about the Leavenworth citizens doing a really good job. I mean, there are exceptions, but overall the community's come together, doing the right thing as far as the governor's stay-at-home order, which right now is set to expire on the 3rd of May, which is Sunday, but we'll see. I mean, sometime over the next few days we'll probably know more about that, and probably hear something from the county also, the Board of County Commissioners, so we'll just have to wait and see. But for not only the citizens who are stepping up and doing and performing their civic duty, but also I saw a very, very short letter to the editor from my friend Roger Harrison, who lives over there on Broadway, and I just wanted to read it real quick. It'll take no more than a minute because we do owe a lot of people in our community thanks. So he said, to the editor, as we thank doctors, nurses, first responders, etc., I am also in awe of bank tellers who work behind those windows and handle the funds we deposit, not knowing where it has been. Grocery workers restock the shelves and provide us with a way to get food. Garbage collectors, water department staff, power and light workers did not stop working at their jobs because they are relied on. To all of you, I say, and we say, thank you for being there. Thank you for doing your community, serving your community in the way that you do. So I thought that was good, and Roger's, he's got a way with words, short, sweet, and heartfelt. So I'll just say be safe, please stay healthy, stay positive, and I will see some of you, maybe hopefully a lot of you, tomorrow during the Facebook Live Town Hall. So, but we need to adjourn, so I'm going to, I'll make a motion to go ahead and adjourn today's meeting. Do I have a second?
Commissioner Wilson,
Commissioner Preisinger, second.
Okay.
all of it.
There's a motion and a second
So
to,
moved. So moved.
no problem, to adjourn, and we are going to begin voting with Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Lienhard,
Aye.
Commissioner Bowder,
Aye.
Commissioner Preisinger,
Aye.
and I vote aye as the mayor. So that motion is, the ayes have it, motion carries 5-0, so we are adjourned.